Now, as a individual who has a long-standing personal relationship with the President of the United States, I am concerned about his administration. Well, I'm not concerned about the direction he's taking in the country. I think that speaks for itself. 3.2 million new jobs, almost 5%, 4.6% economic growth. That's growth in the GDP. In this quarter, the appearance that the very next quarter could actually hit 5.5, maybe even 6% economic growth. Record growth in wages, African American and Hispanic unemployment at the lowest point ever, a record stock market. Yes, President Donald Trump is making America great again. And Republicans, including the president, need to run on a platform of peace and prosperity. But instead, the president has unfortunately gotten dragged into a fraudulent controversy with both the Washington Post and the New York Times. The Washington Post has been in the forefront of publicizing the book by Bob Woodward, held out to us as an icon, a man of impeccable integrity who can't be questioned, when in fact, Bob Woodward is a fraud. He lied about Watergate. He lied about being a military intelligence briefer in the Navy and briefing White House Chief of Staff General Alexander Haig and plotting with Haig to publicize the 18.5-minute gap, which wasn't created by Richard Nixon or his longtime assistant Rosemary Woods, but was put forward by General Haig. How is it that Bob Woodward learned about the gap before the Senate investigating committee looking into Watergate or before the Watergate prosecutors? That's because Bob Woodward was a White House insider, a deep stater from the get-go. Then, of course, Woodward lied about Iran-Contra in the administration of President Donald Trump. Yes, Woodward says that he snuck into the room, the hospital room, of CIA Director Bill Casey, who had been felled by a stroke, and that Casey gave him an exclusive interview in which he confessed everything. The problem was that Casey's stroke had left him without the capacity for speech. How do we know this? Well, Casey's wife and his daughter and his doctor all say so. Busted Bob Woodward. The president should not dicker with Woodward, nor should the president continue his back and forth suggesting that Jeff Sessions, of all people, should investigate who the author is of the New York Times editorial claiming that they are a Washington Trump administration insider seeking to save the country from President Donald Trump. I know exactly who wrote this. No one. It's a fraud, a MacGuffin. It's a con job. And unfortunately, Donald Trump, who I love, has taken the bait. Mr. President, your record is incredible. You are bringing this country back. Ignore your critics. Don't get down in the gutter with the Washington Post or the New York Times. Talk about an incredible record of economic success and your attempts abroad to bring a more peaceful world. Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush couldn't even get the North Koreans to the table, yet Donald Trump has engaged them in peace talks. How's that for changing the world scene? If you want to look at who our real adversaries are abroad, Donald Trump is smart enough to know that the Chinese are the major adversaries for the United States, and that Islamic terrorism is both a problem for ourselves and, of course, the Russians. Those are the issues the president should run on for this election. Those who say, oh, we're going to lose the House, it's over, there's a blue tsunami coming, a little premature, in my opinion. The president has the bully pulpit. It's amazing to me that at no time during his presidency has he given an address directly to the American people from the Oval Office. The president has the bully pulpit, and he can put his imprimatur and his message on the upcoming election. Time is short, but Donald Trump has the whip hand if he chooses to use it. I'm Roger Stone. It's been my privilege to be with you here on the Alex Jones Show. Shortly, I will be back with my colleague Owen Schroyer for the War Room. We're going to be taking your phone calls on the War Room today because things are moving so quickly in Washington. Info warriors want to know exactly what's going on.